Hi, I'm Mohit and welcome to ClearFeed. Your customers may reach out to your team through Slack, Microsoft Teams, email, web chat, Discord, Telegram, or other communication channels. While this makes it easy for customers to ask for help, managing support across these channels becomes difficult as your customer base grows. Requests can get missed, tracking escalations and follow ups requires a lot of manual effort. That's where ClearFeed comes in. ClearFeed is an omnichannel customer support platform that brings customer conversations from different communication channels into one structured help desk workflow. Your customers can continue reaching out through the channels they already use, while your support team gets one place to track, assign, respond to, and measure every request, regardless of where the conversation started. When a customer sends a message, ClearFeed brings it into your team's Slack Triage channel and the ClearFeed Web App. Your team can manage the request from either place, and responses are sent back to the customer in the original channel. If the request needs help from another team, you can also connect it to tools such as Jira and other systems your teams already use. Now, let's see this workflow in action. Let's start with collections. Collections help us group customers based on how we want to manage and support them. For example, you can see here that we group customers based on their assigned CSM. This makes it easier to manage customers that follow the same ownership or support workflow. Instead of configuring every customer individually, we can set things like assignment rules, SLAs, AI behavior, and other support settings at the collection level. Any customers added to that collection can then follow the same configuration. From here, I can add a new customer directly to the collection. I just need to add their details, specify the channels they'll use to reach our team, and that's it. Once the customer is added to the collection and their request channels are connected, they are ready to start sending requests through ClearFeed. Now let's see what happens when the customer actually reaches out. As soon as the customer sends this message, ClearFeed detects the conversation and creates a support request. Instead of our support team having to monitor every individual customer channel, the request is brought into our internal triage channel. Here we can immediately see the request, the customer it came from, the current status, priority, and assignee. This gives the support team a single place to manage incoming requests instead of constantly switching between customer conversations. I can assign this request to myself so it's clear who owns the conversation. I can also update the status as I work on this request, for example, moving it from open to in progress. If I need help from someone internally, I can add a private mode. This is only visible to our internal team, so I can collaborate with engineering or another support agent without exposing that conversation to the customer. For example, I might ask engineering to check whether this deployment is related to a recent change. Once I have the information I need, I can send a public reply directly from here. The important part is that this reply is sent back to the customer's original conversation. So from the customer's perspective, they're simply containing their normal conversation with our support team. They don't need to know that we're managing the request through a separate triage workflow behind the scenes. Of course, not every customer issue can be solved directly by the support team. Sometimes we need help from engineering or product. In that case, I can create a task directly from this request and send it to a tool like Jira. The task stays linked to the original customer request, so the support team can continue tracking the engineering work without losing the context of the customer conversation. Once engineering resolves the issue, the support team can use that information to update the customer and close the request. Once we have confirmed the issue is resolved, I can mark the request as solved. And that's the basic life cycle of a request in ClearFeed. A customer reaches out, the request is captured, the team takes ownership, internal teams can collaborate when needed, and the request is eventually resolved. And all of this can be managed directly from Slack. Now let's look at the same workflow from the ClearFeed web app. Everything we just saw in Slack is also available here, and the two experiences stay synchronized. Here, I can see the complete conversation history. On the side, I can see the important request details, the customers, assignee, status, priority, collection, and other context. I can also see any tasks that have been created and other information associated with the request. Just like in Slack, I can respond directly to the customer from here with a public reply. The message goes directly back to the customer. Or I can switch to a private comment when I want to communicate internally with my team. I can also use ClearFeed's AI capabilities to improve the wording of a response before sending it. Once I send it, the customer receives the response in their original communication channel. And I can update the status or mark the request as solved directly from the web app. So teams can work entirely from Slack, entirely from the web app, or use both depending on their workflow. So far, we've looked at a Slack conversation, but the same support workflow can also be used across other channels. For example, I'll send a new email from here, and ClearFeed picks it up as a request and brings it into the same triage workflow. So even though the customer contacted us through email, the support team can manage the request directly from Slack. I can send a message directly from Slack Triage, and that response is sent back to the customer over email. As you can see, the reply has now come back to the customer's email even though I sent it directly from Slack. The same workflow applies to Microsoft Teams and other supported channels. The key idea is that customers can continue using the channel they are comfortable with, while your support team gets one consistent workflow to manage all of those requests. What we've seen so far is the core ClearFeed workflow, but there's a lot more you can build on top of this. You can use AI agents to answer customer questions automatically or assist your support team with suggested responses. You can define SLAs for response and resolution times so your team knows which requests need attention and can track performance against your targets. You can also create automations that take action automatically when specific conditions are met. And with insights, you can measure things like request volume, response times, resolution times, CSAT, and SLA performance. We'll cover these advanced capabilities in separate videos. And that's how ClearFeed helps teams manage omnichannel customer support. Your customers can keep using the channels they already prefer while your team gets one place to manage everything. And as your support operation grows, you can layer on AI agents, SLAs, automations, insights, and other advanced capabilities. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.